Claude versus ChatGPT. It's one of the most common questions I get, and it's one of the most important ones if you're running a business and trying to figure out which AI tool to put at the center of your workflow. Both are excellent, both have real strengths, and they're genuinely different in ways that matter depending on what you're trying to do. I've used both extensively, and today I'm giving you the full, honest breakdown. No brand loyalty, no hype, just the practical comparison that helps you make the right call for your specific situation. Before we get into the comparison, let's understand what we're actually comparing. ChatGPT is made by OpenAI and is available at chat.openai.com. The free version uses GPT 3.5, which is significantly less capable than the paid tier. The paid tier, ChatGPT Plus, at $20 a month, gives you access to GPT 4o, which is one of the most capable models available. Claude is made by Anthropic and is available at Claude.ai. The free version gives you access to Claude 3 Haiku and limited access to better models. Claude Pro at $20 a month gives you full access to Claude 3.5 Sonnet, which is Anthropic's flagship model, along with Claude 3 Opus. So for a fair comparison, we're mostly talking about the paid tiers of both, $20 a month each. Which one gives you more value for that $20 depends heavily on what you're using it for. Writing is where most business users spend the most time, so let's start here. Both tools are excellent at writing, but they have noticeably different styles. Claude writes in a more natural, conversational, nuanced way. When you ask Claude to write a long-form piece, an article, a report, an email sequence, the output tends to read like it was written by a thoughtful human. It avoids filler, it's specific, and it has good flow. Claude is also significantly less prone to sycophancy. It won't just tell you your idea is great when it isn't. It will engage critically and honestly with what you've given it. ChatGPT tends to be slightly more formulaic in its writing structure. It's very competent, but longer outputs sometimes fall into predictable patterns. The classic 3 things you need to know structure, for example. That said, GPT-4o's writing has improved substantially and the gap has narrowed. For marketing copy specifically, sales pages, email campaigns, social media, both are strong. The edge goes to Claude for long-form content where nuance and natural voice matter. For short, punchy marketing copy, it's essentially a tie. For anything creative, storytelling, brand voice, scripts, personality-driven content, Claude has a meaningful edge. It's better at maintaining voice consistency and producing text that doesn't feel AI-generated. Winner for writing, Claude. Slight edge. ChatGPT has a significant structural advantage here. Real-time web browsing. With a Plus subscription, GPT-4o can browse the web and pull current information. Claude's knowledge has a training cutoff and it cannot browse the internet. For any research task that requires current information, market research, recent news, competitor analysis, pricing research, ChatGPT has an enormous practical advantage. You can ask it to research something happening now and it will actually look it up. Claude will tell you what it knew as of its training cutoff, which may be out of date. For reasoning tasks that don't require current data, working through a complex business problem, analyzing a situation, strategic planning, both models are excellent, and Claude has a slight edge in structured reasoning and ability to work through layered, nuanced problems. Claude tends to maintain coherence over very long reasoning chains better than some GPT versions. For technical analysis of large documents, Claude's context window advantage, more on that in a moment, gives it an edge when working with long materials. Winner for research, ChatGPT for current information, Claude for deep reasoning on static tasks. This is a genuine split depending on your use case. Context window is how much text the AI can hold in its memory during a single conversation. This matters enormously for business use cases. Claude has historically had one of the largest context windows in the industry. Claude 3.5 can handle up to 200,000 tokens of context. That's roughly 150,000 words. You could paste an entire book into Claude and it would work with it. GPT-4o supports 128,000 tokens, still very large, but smaller than Claude's maximum. For most business tasks, this difference doesn't matter. But for specific use cases, analyzing an entire contract, working through a large code base, reviewing a lengthy document, Claude's larger window gives it a meaningful advantage. If you regularly work with very long documents, this is an important consideration. For typical business writing and analysis with normal length documents, both are more than adequate. Winner for context window, Claude. If your business involves technical work, building tools, automation, apps, data analysis, this matters a lot. GPT-4o with Code Interpreter is extremely powerful for technical work. It can write code, execute it, and analyze results in a single conversation. If you're building automated workflows, doing data analysis with Python, or creating technical tools, ChatGPT's ability to actually run code is a significant advantage. Claude is also an excellent coder. Claude 3.5 Sonnet was benchmarked as one of the best coding models available at its release and performs exceptionally well at writing clean, well-commented code across languages. For code generation and review without needing to execute the code, Claude competes at the very top level. If you need to execute code and do data analysis in ChatGPT, for pure code generation and technical problem solving, essentially tied with Claude 3.5 arguably having a slight edge in code quality. Winner for coding, ChatGPT for execution, Claude for code generation. Another genuine split. ChatGPT has a significantly more mature ecosystem of plugins and third-party integrations. The GPT store has thousands of specialized GPTs, custom versions of ChatGPT tuned for specific tasks. There are GPTs for specific industries, specific workflows, specific types of analysis. ChatGPT also has voice mode, which allows genuine real-time conversation with the AI. For some business use cases, brainstorming while commuting, quick questions while working on something else, voice mode is genuinely useful. Claude has an API that's widely used by developers to build business applications, and Anthropic is building out its own artifact and project features that are becoming more powerful. Claude's projects feature lets you give it persistent context about your business. You configure it once with your company information, style guide, and objectives.